Alright, so to get started with this look, I'm going to go in with a nude pencil and start mapping out where I want Venom's face and structure to be. Right now I'm just mapping out his mouth area, and then I'm also going to start working around his eye. Now I do, of course, want to start with a nude pencil to get an idea, because like that, as you can see, I could easily erase any lines or mistakes. Now here, I'm going to go in with a sheet of paper, just this regular printer paper, to map out where I want his eye to be. This is also going to be like the base eye that I'm going to use later on in the look. It is a rough draft, so it's a lot larger than what I would like it to be, but again, this is just a guide. Once I have my guide down, I'm going to start now laying the foundation on my face. So this is going to be for the glam side. I'm just doing a quick base layer all around my eye. I do kind of take off the foundation around my eye because I'm going to go in with concealer and I didn't want it to be too cakey. I am using the Revlon Color Stay foundation with the Eco Beauty Sponge. Then next I'm going to grab my Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer and lay that as a base over my eyelid and under my eye to both brighten up my eye and also create a base layer for my eyeshadow. Time to set. So now I'm going to grab my Airspun powder, and it's color translucent, and just with the same beauty sponge but on the other edge, pretty much set my concealer. And then I'm going to go in with my Lorac contour palette and pick up the lightest shade right here with the brush that it came with and start cutting out where my cheekbone is to kind of contour my cheekbone, and then grab a fluffy contour brush and just blend it out. And just to let you guys know, we'll have all the products listed down below. Some of them I believe may be discontinued, so I'll have alternatives for you. Just to let you know, everything will be down in the description. Now, as you saw, I just continued the contour up against my temple and then went ahead back in with the Airspun powder and just chiseled out my jawline. And with an e.l.f. brush, I just went in and dusted off very lightly all the contour powder. Now with the ABH Dip Brow Gel and the ABH double-sided brush, I believe this is a size 12, I'm going to start filling in my eyebrow. Now with my Maybelline Lash Blast Mascara, I'm just going to use this mascara to keep all my brows in place. I do go in with the color brown and just lightly fill in on my hairs. Now it's time for blush. I'm just going to grab my Makeup Revolution blush palette, and with fluffy blush brush from e.l.f., I'm just going to go ahead and place that all over my cheekbone, and then I'm also going to place it a little bit on my forehead as well. I feel like this, gives you that more natural look when it comes to blush. Now with this pink color, I'm going to go ahead and start chiseling out my crease area. I did wet the brush just a little bit to help the pigment stick, but I'm just going to go in with that pink all around my crease area and my outer V to start creating the transition color for my eyeshadow. I also go in and cover my lid just a little bit to help with the base layer itself. And last but not least, just don't forget to blend. Now with this creamish yellow color, it has a little bit of a sparkle with it. I'm going to use that as a highlighter around my brow bone to start kind of creating a little more dimension on my eye. And then next I'm going to grab a flat shader eyeshadow brush, and I did wet it a little bit with some setting spray. I'm going to go in with this red to kind of pick up the pigment and start building this on my eyelid itself. I did want to go for a red eyeshadow look for this look. And so you'll see me just packing it in. I am using patting motions. I know it's a little speed up just because this video would be 2 hours long if it wasn't. But I'm just patting it in, using patting motions to build up the color and then working it up to my lid. And then I'm going to go back in with the crease brush that I used earlier to blend out the edges. Then now I'm going to grab a little bit of the orange and add a little bit on top, very lightly on top of that red. I just feel like it helps blend it easier, make it look a little more put together. On the list is eyeliner, so I'm going to go in with my NYX Epic Ink eyeliner pencil and just building up my eyeliner from here. Please take your time with this step because I always say that eyeliner can make or break your look and it can and has in the past caused me to start my look all over again. So right now I'm just building it up, and then once I'm done with my eyeliner, I'm going to go in with the same colors I used earlier for my eyeshadow. I'm just going to create the same effect underneath. Now I'm just going to curl my lashes and put some mascara, and I believe this is the L'Oreal Lash Blast mascara. And so once my eyelashes are nice and coated, I'm going to go in with my falsies to kind of complete the eye look. Once again, I'll have the products listed down below. This is the Ardell lashes that I got. I think it's a 5-pack wispy lash. And then just to finalize the eyeshadow, I am going to go and just blend the inner corner just a little bit more, do some extra last minute touches, and make sure everything looks put together and blended. Now to finish off the glam side of our face, I'm going to go with an OG The Balm highlighter. And with an e.l.f. highlighter brush, I'm just going to go in and place this on all the high points of my face, so on my cheekbones, my nose, the inner eyelid, the inner corner, sorry, as well as a little bit on my forehead. Now to finish off, I'm just going to do a little touch up around my nose area because I saw that my contour was just not that great. I am not going to lie, I do struggle contouring my nose for some reason. It's just one of the things, one of my weak points. But I'm just going to put some setting powder and then brush it off just a little bit and fix a little bit of the contour around my nose. And then just set everything in place. Now for the fun part, I'm going to grab some Elmer's glue and place it in a little dish just like this to make it easy access, and just a regular art brush. I'm going to grab the eye stencil that I created out of paper and start placing it on the eye. I'm not going to put it completely over my eye. I'm just kind of like putting the bottom base and cutting slits on the area that I want to help the paper curve on my face. And once I have pretty much like the bottom part of the eyeball or Venom's eye kind of placed on my face, I'm now going to start grabbing some toilet paper. Now I'm going to roll up the toilet paper and start gluing this on the outside part of the eye stencil itself to create kind of like a false eyelid. And here's just paper mache it. Just glue, paper, glue, and paper. And I just build it up and make sure that everything is covered in glue, because later once the glue dries, it will make that, it'll harden the paper and make it kind of like typical of what you would see with paper mache. Now the edges of the toilet paper, and this is why I started with toilet paper first, because of course when toilet paper gets wet, it kind of dissolves and breaks away easily, and I feel like it created that texture that I was looking for, that effect of Venom's, little tentacle things when he takes over. And so this is what I'm just working on right now. It's just the outer part of the eye. I am going to coat the outer edges of the stencil itself and just cover that part with the toilet paper, and this way I create kind of like a cover over my eye, so it's not laying flat on my eye, being annoying to, when I'm blinking or anything like that. And so it's just gonna, create like a little capsule over my eye. This way I only need to put glue on kind of like my forehead area as well as the bridge of my nose, and it also helps avoid putting anything on the sensitive eyelid part of my face, if that makes sense. Now, to kind of build the upper eyelid area of Venom's eyeball, I'm just pretty much placing the toilet paper in like the rip side and just pushing it up with my fingernail. And here, as you can see, where I just placed the glue on the bridge of my nose to close out my eyeball itself. And this way, like I said, it avoids putting anything on my actual eye. Now, I'm just going to start placing the toilet paper, and I did a double layer, so like that, it kind of starts to create the base. And once I'm done kind of fixing and laying down the toilet paper around my nose area, this is where I'm going to grab that actual paper towel. And as you can see, the paper towel has like a texture to it that's like very bumpy, and I feel like this will create a really good kind of like aesthetic look for, Venom's skin texture. But at the same time, I grabbed the paper towel around this area because the paper towel is of course, rougher and thicker than regular toilet paper. So this, just adds another layer to kind of make to harden and make that part of the actual mask itself a little more sturdier. Now here, I'm just going to make sure that I cover it completely with glue, and then any excess paper towel that I don't need, I'm just going to cut it off in just a second. but I just want to make sure that everything is covered in glue, so once it hardens into like a mask texture. I'm just now playing with the edges of the toilet paper and the paper towels to A, blend it both in, but of course to also make it look like he's crawling across my face. And so I'm just playing around with the paper to kind of create that texture I'm looking for. So once I got the top part down and finalized, covered up in glue, I'm gonna now start creating a base layer of glue on the bottom jawline part to start building up his jaw. And I'm just gonna, of course, place the glue all over my face in the areas I want it, and then just cover them up with toilet paper. And of course, you know, play around with the edges. I use the back of my brush as well as my hands to kind of create that little goopy texture that he has. And from here, I'm just gluing everything down. Now, a little tip is that you don't want everything to be flat. It's okay to leave wrinkles and for it to look kind of like wrinkly and a little bit like all over the place, just because when you look at Venom's texture, it's like very goopy and very all over the place. So allowing the toilet paper to kind of just like crumple up a little bit or be a little wrinkly underneath, it just makes it look more realistic. So you'll see me just playing around with that and not being too precise or perfect. And that's what I honestly liked about this look, is that you could really honestly be a little messy with how the paper towels look and how it just lays across your face and how you could glue it in. Now, another little tip is to kind of twist the edges of the toilet paper. This kind of gives it a more 3D effect for the texture of Venom crawling across your face. Now here, I'm gonna grab some eyelash glue just because this is the only thing I had on hand and it's a little stronger than regular Elmer's glue and it dries faster for this purpose. But this tongue prop I did create it the night before and I did do it off camera just because I had to give it time to dry. But I pretty much took a couple paper towels, just rolled them on upon itself. I rolled it in a diagonal version in the form of a funnel or a cone and then just glued it all upon itself to create the tongue. And so I did do this the night before just because I did have to give it time to dry completely, as well as, when I painted it, I also had to let the paint to dry. But as you can see, I used the eyelash glue and glued it to my face. If I had a choice, I'd honestly use a different type of glue like the spirit glue, but in my case, I only had eyelash glue to work with. Now here I'm just going to grab pieces of toilet paper, fold them up a little bit, and start placing it on the edge of that tongue where I glued it to help start blending it into the mask. I also started cutting up small pieces of rolled up toilet paper and placing it on the edges to start creating more of the tentacles that Venom tends to have. So I just started doing that right across my face to make it look like he's crawling. And then from here is just a matter of building up the mask itself. So I'm just going to start putting paper towels, I'm sorry, toilet paper in areas that I just need a little more build up. So you'll see me go back and forth with the toilet paper and then the glue to start building up the mask itself. And I'm also going to start extending this down my neck as well with the same techniques I used across my face, just putting the glue down first, then layering the toilet paper right over it, and of course making sure that it's not as perfect. I want it a little bit more wrinkly. Um, and yeah, that's how I continue to build a look. Once I have my base down, it is time to color it in. So I'm using some oil paints here, and I'm using the black, of course, just to kind of start building up the color for his face. And Venom is Venom, so he's just like pitch black. And Luckily, due to the texture of the paper itself, it creates its own highlights and shadows. So I'm just going to keep it very basic and very easy and just start pretty much coloring in all the black parts of his face. I am using just a flat basic art brush. This will allow me, since it's a flat brush, it will allow me to kind of create and extend the black lines. And here you can see the texture I was talking about with the paper towel. So this is why I use the paper towel here in this area, is because A, it created a harder base, so not like toilet paper where it just goes right through if it gets wet. But B, it also kind of creates that texture that I was talking about where it makes it look a little more realistic. And here you'll see me just kind of cut off the extra from the stencil. This is why I made it a little longer than needed, just because I didn't know exactly where I was going to end with my paper mache area when I was building the mask. So that's why I left it a little longer than usual. But now that I got a comfortable idea of where I wanted the mask to end, I'm just going to cut off the excess for it. Now here you'll see me start creating little additional tentacles with the oil paint. This is just the start of it. I will go back in later to, add additional detail to it, but I just wanted to show you what it would look like. Now, throughout the entire time, I was filling in the mask itself with circular motions and patting motions, just because I didn't want to move the paper or mess up, my hard work. So I know it's a little sped up and you can't really see it, but it was more patting and like slightly circular motions when I was filling in the base color. Once I got the base black color down, I'm just going to quickly grab one of my red lipsticks, and I believe this was from BH Cosmetics. And with that, I'm just going to fill in my lips, just because I know that I was going to continue with the black, so I wanted to make sure I got that out the way. Next, I wanted to grab my Epic Ink eyeliner pencil from NYX and start creating the details on the outer edges. These are like the little vein details that kind of give Venom his signature look when he's taken over his host body. So you'll see me just fill in and create all those little details in all the areas to make it look more realistic. So now that I got the details down, I'm going to grab some of the red from the same oil palette, and I did mix it a little bit with the black to make it a little darker, and I'm just filling in the mouth area, and I am going to drag the color to make it blend better with the tongue itself, so I'm going to drag it down the tongue. Once everything is set, I'm going to go ahead and grab my translucent powder and just set it all in. Now, with fake nails, I'm going to go ahead and grab different sizes with some eyelash glue and start placing them in the place where he would have his teeth. And as you can see, it's beginning to come together. Be sure to use different sizes, of course, like the smaller ones I used up front, the bigger ones I started using towards the back. And then on the end parts, I just filled it in a little bit more with some red to create kind of like the gum effect over his teeth. Just kind of touch up some of the details underneath my neck. And boom, there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this look. I had fun creating it. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the little bell notification to be notified of my next video. And with that, I'll see you in my next video. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.
Wow, that baby hairs.